Okay, we do have a tornado warning now in place for our friends over on the eastern shore. This would include portions of Kent as well as Queen Anne's County, and particularly if you're in Centerville over to Ruthsburg, back through the Graysonville area and over towards Stevensville, crossing over towards the Bay Bridge. That's where we're starting to see the problems. Chestertown also up towards that area and around the Rock Hall area, looking at this tornado warning that will go until 11:45 p.m. So as a precautionary here, we're going to continue to stay with you until this is canceled across the area. So we'll go over to radar view and we'll be able to show you what's going on. You also got an alert on your phone if you're in Baltimore City. Don't want to let that go. There is a flash flood warning in place for some flooding because the leaves are clogged up in the city with 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. That does cause some poor drainage flooding. So as we zoom on in for you right now, if you're in Rock Hall up towards Eadsville and around the Stevensville area, now working over towards Centerville, it's this kink that you see in the radar. We'll actually circle that for you so you'll be able to see it a little bit better. It's this kink that is providing us with that circulation and why we're seeing that tornado warning issued from the Weather Service office up there in Philadelphia and Mount Holly. If we switch this over towards velocity view, you'll actually get a better view of what's coming over the bridge right now in Stevensville, and that's not pretty at all. We'll take all of these warnings off of here for you and give you a better look at what we're looking at least for the winds that are coming across the bay, over the Bay Bridge right now. Those winds measured by the radar, and this is actually pretty close to the Dover radar site. We're getting 72-mile-per-hour gusts coming up and over the Bay Bridge just south of Stevensville as you get down there along portions of Kent Island out towards out there along the point of Kent Island towards the Kent Moor. Velocity around 63 miles per hour. That'll push you up through Stevensville over towards Chester and Graysonville, along the 301 corridor, along the 50 corridor where you dump out towards the outlets there. We are underneath that tornado warning, which will go until 11:45 p.m. A wider view here. We'll pull out a little bit and we'll take you up here a little bit closer to the radar site there in Dover. Our friends up here in Sudlersville, you may not be included in that tornado warning, but I want you to seek shelter immediately because we're getting wind gusts there, upwards of 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour. Same thing even up towards Chestertown, 45, 50 miles per hour. That's still likely to create some damage, especially with a lot of loose items outdoors. Today was Halloween. There's a lot of decorations out there. Maybe it was trash day or recycle day in your neighborhood. That could be blowing around in the air. Over towards Rock Hall, a little less on the gust, around 30 to 40 miles per hour, but still likely to cause some problems. So we'll go back over into radar view, and we'll kind of give you a better gist of what is happening here. We'll pan this out a little bit. Now, we're not seeing too much going on. We'll actually go over towards a better view of that. So there we go. Right into Centerville. If you're in Centerville, we want you to put all of the walls around you. So what do I mean by that? If we can take Weather Graphics Computer 2, we do have some tornado safety tips for you. When a tornado warning is issued like this, we want you to act immediately. Crouch down, protect your head, put all of the walls between you and the tornado as possible. Take shelter in a low-level room, a basement, or a bathroom. And if you're in a car, of course, you want to abandon it. That could be picked up pretty easily by the tornado, so find a ditch or a sturdy structure to get into. If you have a basement, an innermost closet, or a bathroom, especially the bathtub, that's pretty good if you don't have the basement. And put as many walls between you and the tornado as possible. Once again, there is a tornado warning in place for portions of Kent County, Queen Anne's County. We're going to go over here towards the Weather Service chat and look to see if they added anything different here. Caroline, Kent, Queen Anne's, and Talbot County until 11:45 p.m. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Chester or near the Severn River, moving east at 50 miles per hour. So it's moving pretty quickly, so it may come right up on top of you just like that, and you wouldn't even know it. That's why we want you to take shelter, and that's why we're right here, right now with you about the tornado warning. We're now going to leave everybody out in the city of Baltimore. We want to go back towards a better view here. We see the severe thunderstorm warning still in place for Anne Arundel County. That will go until the bottom of the hour. Tornado warning there in red. That will go until 11:45. Everybody else on the eastern shore that is not inside that red box, that's in an orange box, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. That will go until midnight tonight in those locations. That includes Chestertown, that includes Cecilton, Warwick, Pembroseville up there in Cecil County, Betterton, Kennedyville, over towards Millington, and then down into Caroline County, over towards the Denton, Goldsboro area, through Ruthsburg, seeing some of that in around Easton and over towards St. Michael's. We're seeing that severe thunderstorm warning in place until midnight, but the tornado warning is why we're with you right now. We also have some issues downtown in the city. don't want to leave this alone. You did get an alert that may have screamed on your phone here about, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes ago for a flash flood warning that was in place for the city until 1:45 p.m. And that's because we've seen rainfall amounts in the city around 1 to 3 inches. On top of that, you have a lot of leaves that got blowed off of these trees, and those leaves, of course, creating some problems with clogging up the drains, and that creates some poor drainage flooding. Also, there are more warnings off to the west for flooding. That includes portions of northern Baltimore County, Carroll County, out through portions of Howard and Montgomery County. Those are aerial flood warnings that will go until 3:45 a.m. for some issues on some of the smaller streams and creeks across the area. So we have the severe weather threat, the tornado threat right now. We still also have this. There is a little silver lining here, at least for those back towards the west. These warnings and watches have been canceled west of the city of Baltimore, but we still do have that one warning on the table. So we'll go back over towards the severe weather alerts here for you, and then we'll go into the radar. Again, we do have the tornado warning there in red. That encompasses, once again, Caroline, Kent, Queen Anne's, Talbot County. That will go until 11:45 p.m. At 11:09 p.m., the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Chester. That's right there out towards Kent Island and near the Severn River, moving east at 50. So these are booking it east into the eastern shore, and then they're going to head over into Delaware here once we get past about midnight tonight. So we're going to continue to stay with you right now. It is 11:21. We have another 20-plus minutes to go here on this tornado warning that encompasses, once again, Caroline, Kent, Queen Anne's, and Talbot County is where we're looking at that tornado warning. We'll go back into the radar here, and we'll zoom in. We'll take some of these warnings off and give you a better inspection of what we're looking at least with the storm. The storm of concern right now is over here towards Centerville, where you see this bend in the radar, which we'll circle for you. Where you see this bend in the radar is most likely where we're getting that spin up in the line, which is creating the prompting, the tornado warning that will continue until 11:45. We'll come in a little bit closer, our friends in Centerville. If you're moving along Maryland 18, Maryland 213, US 301, out towards Hope and Price, as well as Centerville over towards Hickory Thicket, McKinleyville, Indiantown, Overton. We want you to seek shelter immediately. That includes Maryland 445, back up towards the Indiantown area, Starkey Corner, and Church Hill. Those folks, we want you to take shelter immediately. If you're not seeing a tornado here, you're likely to be seeing some very, very gusty winds, gusting upwards of 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour. We'll pull these warnings off, and we'll give you a better sample of what we're looking at right now in Overton itself. As we sample this right along the 445 placard there, we're seeing velocities upwards of 56 miles per hour. That wind may likely be being pushed down to the surface. Same thing just north of Overton, getting those gusts around 50. Hickory Thicket, same thing around 50 miles per hour. So we're getting a pretty decent reading of at least 50 mile per hour wind gusts along that entire line. And there's the latest gauge reading that's coming in at least right near the Bay Bridge. And we did get a 66 mile per hour wind gust coming across Bay Ridge there. So that's on the other side of the Bay Bridge. And that's kind of what we're dealing with here as this pulls on through. So this is no joke. We want you to heed this warning as it comes on through. So the tornado warning once again until 11:45 p.m. for Caroline, Kent, Queen Anne's, Talbot counties. Once again, the tornado was located near Chester. That was at the top of the hour and moving towards the Severn River east at 50 miles per hour. So moving east with 66 mile per hour winds. If it's not a tornado, it's still a problem as those winds start to make their way into your neighborhood. If we can go over to Weather Graphics 2, we'll show you those tornado safety tips once again. We want you to put as many walls between you as possible when a tornado warning is issued. If you don't have a basement, of course, a bathroom works, a bathtub works if you can get it down there. Otherwise, maybe even the innermost closet, and put all of the walls around you to keep you safe when a warning is issued. We'll go back into regular radar mode, and you'll be able to see the advancement of this storm. Right now, it is coming into downtown Centerville. So our friends in Centerville want you to seek shelter now. This is basically right on top of you. You're likely to see 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts rolling into the Centerville area. This will be moving towards Ruthsburg along portions of 301. We'll come in a little tighter here right now. Overton over to Indiantown, back along the 301 stretch up towards 213. Looking at the storm around Carville and Price. Carville and Price, heads up. Church Hill, you're under the gun as well. That tornado warning includes you, but right now the bulk of where that spin would be right around downtown Centerville. downtown Centerville, right on the center line of that warning, where we're seeing that tornado warning in place until 11:45 this evening. We'll go back into velocity mode, and you can see the wind is now picking up where the tornado warning is, right into Centerville, just north of there and east of Eadsville. We are seeing some very gusty stuff that's starting to show up on the radar. We're getting wind gusts around 65 miles per hour, and I would say that's probably happening since it already happened on the other side of the bay. As this comes on through just south of Centerville, we're getting those gusts around 31 miles per hour. And that difference there, when you get a difference between 31 and 65, that gives us the belief that there is a little bit of spin there, a little bit of rotation that's occurring in that area. Stevensville, still out towards Stevensville and Graysonville. We're getting those gusts around 51, 52 miles per hour at times rolling on through the area. So we continue to monitor the situation. Tornado warning will continue until 11:45 for Caroline, Queen Anne's, and Talbot County. It has been canceled out of Kent County. That's good news. But right now, the severe thunderstorm capable of producing the tornado was located over Y Mills or near Centerville, moving east at 50. So Centerville, right now, it is right over top of you. And if we go back, at least looking at that storm report that's just south of Annapolis over towards Bay Ridge, we did have wind gusts that were recorded at 66 miles per hour. At 66 miles per hour coming over the bay is where we saw those wind gusts at 66 miles per hour. So wider view for everybody in the area. If you're Baltimore points west, no problems. It's done. We're still worried about the flooding. We'll get to that in just a moment. But in Annapolis, still have the severe thunderstorm warning in place until the bottom of the hour. Eastern Shore, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in place until midnight from portions of Kent, as well as portions of Cecil, as well as Caroline and Talbot counties. Tornado warning, though, remains in effect until 11:45 for Caroline, Queen Anne's, and Talbot counties until 11:45. That includes Y Mills, as well as near the Centerville area, moving east at 50 miles per hour. So that's a look at those warnings. Let's get you into the flooding that's going on. We still have a flash flood warning that will continue until 1:45 for our friends in the city. This includes sections of Bramblewood up through Roland Park over towards the Hamden neighborhood. Watch out in some of those low spots that are right below the avenue going out towards the mill number 1, as well as back out through Mount Washington along some of the creek banks there. The Jones Falls could be seeing some issues, at least with a little bit of flash flooding, because the drains are clogged up in a lot of these areas from the leaves that were whipped off the trees as this line of showers and thunderstorms came on through. Rainfall estimates over the last 36 hours, we did pick up 1/4 of an inch as of this morning. On top of that, though, we delivered a 1 to 3 inch punch as the line came on through, and that's creating other flooding issues, not only here, but up in southeastern portions of Pennsylvania. Numerous flash flood warnings in place up there. Aerial flood warnings in place from basically Baltimore County over into Carroll County, seeing some problems up along the Bruce Run, over towards the Pretty Boy Reservoir, and down into portions of Howard County in and around Damascus. I had some reports there, and along Seneca Creek, down into portions of Montgomery County, had a couple of cars floating down that way with some issues with flash flooding. Those warnings will go once again until through the morning hours of your Friday, as you can see there on the times. But wider view of this storm system, you can see on the back side of it, we actually have some snowflakes out towards Pittsburgh. And what's going to come down out of this is all of this cold air. 32 degrees out towards Oakland, 59 in Baltimore, 71 there in Ocean City. And also this wind is still going to remain an issue. We're gusting right now down at the airport close to 50 miles per hour. And out there in Oakland, still close to 50 miles per hour. Same thing in New York as well as Pittsburgh. So very windy situation out there building in with this storm system, besides dealing with the severe weather facts that we still have in place until the bottom of the hour and even at the top of the midnight hour going into early Friday morning. So we're still with you here, at least in regards to coverage, instead of finishing out the newscast as preempted because of the tornado warning until 11:45 p.m. That includes, once again, portions of Caroline, Queen Anne's, and Talbot County. Kent County has been canceled out of that warning, but still likely to see some very gusty winds at that area. We'll go back into the radar and we'll take some of these warnings off. And you'll be able to see once again, we're not seeing much of that kink feature down here across portions of Centerville, which is great news. We're not seeing the kink, but even if the kink is not there, we're still likely to get some very gusty winds that'll be rolling through this area. You can see, once again, those brighter shades of white and these brighter shades of pink that are showing up are likely our gusts that are over 50, even 60 miles per hour rolling on through. Chestertown, once again, heads up for you. You do have some wind gusts just south of you around 58 to 60 miles per hour. Centerville also looking at 45, 50 mile per hour gusts. Back here towards Stevensville, Queenstown, still right around 50 miles per hour at times. We continue to get that filter ebb and flow of the gust as this line of showers and thunderstorms continues to push through the area. Very, very gusty stuff. Chestertown, Sudlersville, Rock Hall, Centerville, Stevensville, Queenstown. We still want you in your shelter with all of the walls around you. That innermost closet, the bathroom, or if you're in a car, you want to abandon it and find a sturdy structure. But when we have a warning like this, we want you to act immediately. When a watch is issued, of course, that means conditions are favorable for development here. And that's kind of what we're starting to see, at least in the Eastern Shore at this hour. But everybody west of the Eastern Shore, there's no problems. You're out of the woods. As you can see just from this warning map alone, most of the warnings are confined over into the Eastern Shore at this point until midnight. Severe thunderstorm warning there across portions of Kent, Cecil, as well as Caroline and Talbot counties. Tornado warning, though, still in effect for Queen Anne's and Talbot counties. That will go until 11:45 p.m. Once again, that will include the city of Centerville. The city of Centerville, it's right on top of you at this point here with the tornado warning. So we'll go back into the maps and you'll be able to see as we put everything into motion, and we'll pull this back out a little bit so everybody can get the wider view of their neighborhood. You can see that line of showers and thunderstorms building on through. Most of the action is over in the Eastern Shore. Points west, it's just more of a scatter and smatter of showers from Baltimore City back out towards Westminster, and we'll go even wider, and you'll see the back edge of this is out of Hagerstown, so drying out back that way. Still dealing with the flooding woes up in Pennsylvania as well as in our neighborhood, but all of the action right now, Eastern Shore over into Delaware, with the tornado warning that's still in place for portions of the Centerville area until 11:45. So right now we're coming up towards the bottom of the hour here, 11:32 p.m. on our clock. That's right in front of me. We still got a little under 15 minutes to go on the tornado warning. We'll see if they cancel that here shortly. They issued another one just to the north, which is out of our neighborhood, so good news on that front. We'll see if they cancel the one that we're still waiting on here in Queen Anne's, Talbot, and Caroline County. That will go until 11:45 p.m. But the bulk of the action out of the metro and off to the east into the Eastern Shore. As we zoom on in once again, we'll give you a tighter look at that tornado warning that's down here across portions of Queen Anne's and Talbot County. Queenstown over towards Y Mills along the 301 and 213 stretch, seeing some issues. Ruthsburg, this is up towards you, and Jumptown. You'll want to jump into the basement or the bathroom or underneath the bed, underneath a sturdy structure here this evening as this tornado warning continues to come through. Right now, the bulk of the action right over Carmichael, just coming out of Graysonville and just south of Centerville. It looks like our point of circulation rolling up towards the Ruthsburg area around 304. Maryland 304 is where we're likely to see some of those problems. We'll zoom in velocity-wise. You can still see tornado warning here listed until 11:45, and bulk of that wind is right around the Carmichael area and even out towards Graysonville, still getting those gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour. And this is likely to remain a problem until this storm passes through the area. And these winds can create some problems, especially on a night like tonight, because of all the Halloween decorations maybe blowing around out there, or the trash cans. They can be picked up pretty easily with gusts that are around 40 to 50, even 60 miles per hour. We'll go back out to the wider view here of radar, and it looks like a little better, at least in lessening the tornado threat in this area across portions of Queen Anne's as well as Talbot County, even portions of Kent County. But wider view there shows most of the rain now starting to come to an end in Baltimore. Still a little steady in pockets, but that main line still cutting across portions of the Eastern Shore. It looks like they dropped the severe thunderstorm warning off to the south towards Cambridge. That's some good news. We'll see if they can drop a little bit more of this as it goes northbound, as the bulk of this line starts to enter over into Delaware. Still waiting to see what the Philadelphia office, if they're going to continue this warning until 11:45, although it doesn't look like the characteristics are still there, at least for tornadic development. Sudlersville over to Centerville, still planned for that wind around 50 to 60 miles per hour. This is going to be rolling up towards Henderson, Greensboro over there in Caroline County. Heads up for this. This will be headed your way here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. We can actually put a track on that for you since it is moving generally to the east-northeast at 50 miles per hour. That'll put it in Goldsboro at 11:41, Ridgely at 11:41, Greensboro at 11:44, Beach Haven 11:47, Four Corners 11:47, and also Woodcrest around 11:51 p.m. So we'll continue to see this line of showers and thunderstorms carved through portions of Queen Anne's as well as portions of Talbot and also Caroline County with that tornado warning that will continue until 11:45 p.m. Want to reset this back to the regular warning view that we were going to start with the original weathercast, and you can see most of the warnings have been canceled in Baltimore. That is good news. Still dealing with the warnings over in the Eastern Shore. The tornado watch will still continue until midnight, at least for the city. Points east, but they'll likely carve that away here very shortly as well, and it looks like they've already did that. The tornado watch is gone. Still have the severe thunderstorm watch in the Eastern Shore. That will go until 1 a.m. Tornado warning in place for portions of Caroline as well as Queen Anne's and Talbot counties, and that will go until 11:45 p.m. On top of that, we have flooding woes out there, flash flood warnings in place for the city. That will go until 1:45 a.m. Wider view shows more flooding back towards the west in portions of Baltimore County and Carroll County. That will go until 3:45 in those low drainage spots and out towards the Damascus area back into portions of Montgomery County. Flood warnings and aerial flood warnings that will go through the early morning hours of your Friday. Wider view shows the system is going to depart in the next hour or two from the area, so that is good news. It is snowing, though, in the mountains of Maryland, back into southeastern portions of PA, as well as northern portions of Ohio. And this is all associated with a very powerful cold front that's rolling through the area as we speak. Behind that front, that's what we're going to expect over the next couple of days. It's not going to be that cold during the day, but at night we are going to get pretty cold with temperatures in the 30s and highs only in the 50s. And the wind will remain in place at least through your Friday, gusting now upwards near 50 miles per hour down at the airport and in Richmond, over towards New York as well as Ocean City, seeing those wind gusts, and they will be prevalent through the overnight hours with a wind advisory that will remain in place. A wind advisory for much of central Maryland. We'll see if they extend that over into the Eastern Shore. West winds tomorrow 15 to 30, gust upwards of 50 for your Friday, and that will continue at least through 4 a.m. before those winds subside. So futurecast, as we run the clock for you for the rest of this evening, that line of showers and thunderstorms will start to get out of here as we get over the next hour or two. But notice by tomorrow morning, we're talking about a little bit of snow out across portions of Garrett County, at least some snow flurries that will be nearby. 26 in Oakland by 6 a.m., only 40 here in Baltimore. So that's a big difference in temperature as we get towards the next 12 to 24 hours ahead, and that will remain in place as we go towards tomorrow. So once again, a forecast for your Friday, and then we'll get back to that tornado warning. We'll circle back. Chilly winds, sunny skies out there. Much improvement compared to what we're dealing with out there tonight and the scare that we did have at least for part of the evening with this severe weather and the scare that we actually continue to have right now in portions of the area, especially over there in the Eastern Shore. So we'll circle back. Tornado warning until 11:45 p.m. Once again, that is for portions of Caroline, Queen Anne's County, and Talbot counties. It was located at 11:25. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over near the Y Mills area or near Centerville, moving east at 50 miles per hour. Everybody else in the Eastern Shore is underneath a severe thunderstorm warning, and that will continue until midnight. It is 11:38 on the clock on this Halloween Eve. We got a couple more minutes to go, less than 7 minutes left here on the tornado warning before we send you back over into programming. Tornado warning once again for Caroline as well as portions of Queen Anne's and Talbot County until 11:45. Once again, near Y Mills and Centerville was the location at 11:25. It is likely east of that area at this point. So this is what we're looking at. It's the bottom scraggliness of this tornado warning. Right here just south of Roosburg is likely where our circulation is. Right along the 301 corridor coming off of 50 is where we're likely seeing some of those issues. So in and around 301, over towards 50, out towards the Hillsborough area, Greensboro and Goldsboro, heads up. This tornado warning will likely continue until 11:45 p.m. as we watch the bottom of this storm. If we look at the velocity, once again, nothing too promising. It looks more straight edge coming into Marydale, but still likely to pack a punch, at least with those gusty winds. And this is kind of probably what we're seeing here, is this circulation that is right near the Y Mills area, that is right there. We'll circle that for you real quickly. Right there between Y Mills and Star is where we could be seeing some problems. I'm going to show you something that we usually don't show on TV to see if there is any debris that may be floating in the air, and not getting any good signatures of that here in these darker shades of red. So that is some good news, at least on that front. We're not seeing the debris, but we're likely just continuing to see that circulation, which has now cycled back out over towards the Roostburg area. So once again, here we'll go back over to the radar view, and you can see most of the action is over in the eastern shore. It remains over in the eastern shore. Chestertown, Betterton faring a lot better now at this point. Centerville, the worst is over. It is just to your east now. Heads up our friends in Goldsboro, Greensboro, Henderson. You'll be looking at this tornado warning that will continue for another 5 minutes, for another 4 minutes actually here as we come up on 11:41 p.m. So another 4 minutes to go on the tornado warning across portions of Kent as well as Queen Anne's, Caroline, and Talbot counties until 11:45 p.m. A severe thunderstorm warning has now been extended into portions of Caroline County. That will go until midnight. That will include the Denton and American Corner area over towards Goldsboro, out through El Dorado, down towards the Easton and Trapp area along portions of 50. You'll be looking at the scraggly portion of this line. This is where you'll likely pick up the wind. Right along this straight edge here is where you'll see that wind that will be rolling on through. We'll put a track and put some towns on here for you, what we're expecting, at least timing it out. Greensboro heads up, 11:50. This should be on your doorstep. Denton, 11:53. You're most likely seeing a little bit of lightning in the distance or feeling the wind at this point. Viola, 11:58, and Riverview at 12:02. That is right over the line there into portions of Delaware. So tornado warning, we got another 3 minutes to go here for portions of Caroline, Kent, and Queen Anne's and Talbot County. That will go until 11:45 p.m. It looks like the circulation has at least decreased across this area, has decreased, which is good news. Not seeing much of a kinkage here, but likely to still be seeing some very gusty winds and not seeing much of that circulation, which has faded a bit, but still there right around Y Mills over to Willoughby. Seeing a little bit of that circulation that continues, and that's why that tornado warning is in place. Most of that circulation just south of Roostburg, but we still want you in your shelter until the warning is canceled. Heads up Ridgely. This will be on your doorstep in the next 10 minutes or so. You'll likely see some gusty winds upwards of 50, 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour as this cruises on through. Want to give our viewers at home that are still with us a look at the 7-day forecast of what you can expect for the rest of the week. Plan for sweater weather out there as we go through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but all is quiet in the forecast. Clocks back 1 hour on your Sunday, 52 degrees, overnight lows in the 30s, so you may even need the heat. You may even need the heat out there across the area. And then by Monday, we're back up near 60 degrees with another chance at some showers, on Tuesday. So we're continuing here with the tornado warning. Have not got a cancellation yet from the Weather Service. So we'll go through the radar one more time. And you can see that tornado warning once again in place for portions of Caroline as well as Talbot counties. Once again, that will go until 11:45 in portions of Queen Anne's County, including the Centerville area. The severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled just west of this tornado warning, so that's going to lead me to believe that in the next 2 minutes or so, or the next minute as we roll up on 11:44 p.m., that this warning will be canceled. So just waiting on the Weather Service to drop that cancellation, and then we'll drop off here with you and let you go to sleep here and rest easy overnight tonight as this severe weather threat starts to diminish across the area. If you're in Baltimore, though, still got that flash flood warning. That will continue until 1:45 p.m. The worst of it is over. You'll deal with a couple of scattered showers over the next hour or so. Back towards the west, still dealing with a little bit of steady pockets of rain. Carroll County over to Frederick County out through Montgomery County. We'll still be seeing that, but starting to dry out in many locations and cool down. Those temperatures will be dropping as we get towards tomorrow morning. We'll be on the lookout at least for some sweater weather out there, so have an extra jacket ready to go. Still waiting on the Weather Service's call here as we roll up towards 11:45 p.m. We'll zoom back into that warning there over towards the Greensboro area. Still have a severe thunderstorm warning for you in Caroline County. That will go until midnight. Denton and Goldsboro still underneath a severe thunderstorm warning until midnight tonight. Centerville, the worst of it is over. It's just south of you. Wise Mills over towards Willoughby. We're looking at that, and it looks like we got our cancellation of the tornado warning, which is great news. But severe thunderstorm warnings remain in place across that area. And just Look at it this way, better weather ahead as we get towards your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but have a light sweater ready to go.
Excellent work there, Eric. Keeping us informed about the tornado warning. That is good news. We are going to continue to work for you on the air when we are not on live, and you can download our app to get the latest weather updates. And don't forget about Good Morning Mailing coming your way at 4:30.